In the movie and TV world of the zombie apocalypse, fans have noticed that despite some great stories and overall productions, there's often been that one scene where either common sense, simple logic, or both are suddenly and conveniently overlooked by the plot, a favorite character, or the filmmakers, leaving we the fans scratching our heads and screaming at the screen, who could be this stupid? You've just entered the Frightened House. In this episode of Frightened House, we explore the worst last-minute decisions made by characters in zombie films and TV shows, which cost characters, ultimately, their lives. In The Walking Dead Season 3 finale, Welcome to the Tombs, on the eve of Woodbury's big attack against Rick Grimes in the prison, the governor gives his right-hand man, Milton, one last opportunity to prove his value to him by exacting revenge against a disloyal subject in Andrea. When Milton resists, the governor savagely stabs him and leaves him to slowly die, only feet away from a bound and shackled Andrea. However, prior to being assaulted by the governor, Milton reveals to Andrea that he in fact left a pair of pliers on the floor just behind her chair to assist her escape. Now this is where episode 31 takes a dark turn, with Milton stabbed, bleeding, and quickly transitioning from the world of the living to the realm of the Walking Dead. Time is against Andrea, and if she is ever going to survive, freeing herself must be done as soon as possible. But wait, this is where logic takes a wrong turn. Instead of Andrea focusing on retrieving the pliers with her feet ASAP, she instead decides to take time to catch up with Milton, a pointless conversation which only serves at eating away at the few precious moments available for escape.
No! Is he dead? You're all saying this, is he dead?
Stop it! You're losing it, girl.
Night of the Living Dead 1990. Desperation leads to death. Director Tom Savini made a point to take as many plot elements from the 1968 George Romero classic and give them a completely different look or outcome in the remake, such as the infamous gas pump scene. In the original film, Tom spills gas on the truck and his makeshift torch causing the fiery deaths of Tom and Judy. As in the original, Ben, Tom, and Judy do not have the key to the gas pump, but this time around, Tom, in his desperation, shoots the lock off the pump with his rifle, spraying gas on the ever-present torch, resulting in a massive explosion, engulfing Tom and Judy in flames and killing them. Dawn of the Dead 2004. Zack Snyder's amped-up reimagining of the Romero classic left audiences breathless and proved the living were hardly a match for running zombies. Whether CJ stayed behind in the crashed mall bus to struggle with a propane tank or grab weapons, he made a fatal error considering the dead army rushing his way. Those precious few seconds wasted allowed the dead to rush, then overwhelm him beyond his ability to defend himself. If it was about the propane tank, he could have quickly set the flare next to it, fled the bus, and once on the dock, fired into the bus, setting off the makeshift explosive. Return of the Living Dead, Part 2, 1988. There is such a thing as loving too much. Who knew? Despite Dr. Mandel telling Brenda that her boyfriend Joey was technically dead, she impulsively drags her zombified lover out of the hospital to seek help, only for Joey to fully turn into one of the living dead. Although Brenda runs away from Joey, in her typical line of mistakes, she makes another fatal decision and gives up, allowing her brain-hungry boo to chomp her skull.
I ran down through the heart with a fucking IV bullet! He's just some regular fucking guy, huh? You think he's not dead? You finally fucking understand?
Diary of the Dead, 2007. So, you're at the beginning of a zombie outbreak, and what do you do to protect yourself? Shoot non-stop video no matter what dangers are headed your way. In George Romero's attempt at examining the interpersonal conflicts caused by the zombie outbreak through the lens of an obsessed film project director, this film's most glaring last-minute / impulsive decision comes from the annoying cameraman Jason, as he continues to believe he's making some kind of statement or record with non-stop filming of his friend's plight and battle with zombies. In the climax, as zombies close in on their refuge, the few survivors decide to lock themselves into a safe room, but Jason refuses to join them. That decision instantly costs Jason his own life as a reanimated friend attacks and kills him. There's nothing good about obsessive behavior. The Walking Dead, Season 6, Episode 9, No Way Out. Unless that person is a trigger-happy Carl Grimes, it would not be wise to let a kid talk you into bringing them into a swarm of zombies. In the mid-season finale, start to finish, Alexandria's damaged church tower crushes a part of the town's perimeter wall, allowing an endless army of walkers into the sanctuary. However, it's the mid-season premiere where the lethal last-minute decision leads to disaster. As Rick leads Carl, Michonne, Father Gabriel, Judith, and the Anderson family to the fences, Father Gabriel volunteers to take Judith to safety in the church. Jesse wants Sam, her terrified son, to accompany him, but Sam refuses, asserting that he can make it. That is, until he freaks out at the sight of a child walker, and his crying not only leads walkers to attack him, but also a shattered Jesse. This domino effect is so bad, Ron, the last of the Andersons, blames Rick and tries to shoot him, only for Michonne to stab Ron to death, and in that moment, a wild gunshot hits Carl in the eye. Night of the Living Dead, 1990. Tom Savini's grim remake was noted for its fate changing among the main characters. None more shocking than the last-minute clash between Ben and Cooper. The house was now wide open to the dead. As Ben and Barbara grab guns off a dead cop, Ben tells Cooper to shoot his reanimated daughter. When Cooper hesitates, Barbara shoots the girl, setting off a lethal shootout between Ben and Cooper. In those last seconds, Ben should have ignored Cooper and escaped from the compromised house. Thanks to that last-minute decision, Ben ultimately turned into the very thing he fought to avoid. Dawn of the Dead, 1978. George Romero's first sequel to his 1968 classic turned up the attacks from the dead and the living, leading to a greater chance for absolute disaster. Steven deciding to engage the bikers. If he'd listened to Peter and allowed the bikers to loot the mall, it's likely the gang would have left the scene. By starting a gunfight, Steven, using the elevator shaft with no escape routes, placed himself in the position to be shot and unable to pull himself to safety before the dead rushed the elevator.
It's coming at me, bro.
Yeah, I get it. Shit happens.
The Walking Dead, Season 3, Episodes 2 and 4, Sick, and Killer Within. If you're going to start something, finish it. Call it an impulsive act at the moment, but Rick locking Andrew out in the courtyard of walkers without making sure he was attacked or killed the inmate himself changed the entire direction of the season and series. As you know, Andrew returned to let walkers into the prison, which led to T-Dog being bitten and Lori being separated from the medically skilled Herschel as she went into labor, thus dying as a result of the C-section. Bad move, Rick. That's all for this episode of Frighten House.
Man, you better throw that bullshit right out your head. I'm not going back out there. That's not part of the plan.
Comment below and let us know which last-minute decision in a horror movie or TV show is the worst in your opinion. Don't forget to like this video, share this episode, and be sure to subscribe to Frighten House on YouTube for all updates and new episodes. Thanks for watching.